Junji Ito is one of the most, if not the most, popular horror manga artists in the US. And for good reason, too. He excels at psychological, body, and cosmic terror, often dabbling in the unknowable and uncontrollable. Many of his stories focus on the helplessness and sheer terror his main characters face throughout their story. There aren't happy endings, no easy solutions. All his stories focus on a small human part of an unthinkably large, inhuman whole. And no other story of his exemplifies this as much as Uzumaki. I've never been into reading horror, mostly just watching scary movies and playing scary games, but when I heard of Junji Ito's work, especially after watching Super Eyepatch Wolf's video on him, I knew when I saw Uzumaki in my local Barnes & Noble that I had to check it out. And it is a masterpiece. One of the best parts of Uzumaki is how Junji Ito frames his characters within the story. You have the two protagonists, Kirie and Shuichi, both of whom, over the course of the story, begin to truly understand their terrifying situation while still barely knowing why it's happening or how. This situation being the curse of the spiral. It starts out with Shuichi's parents dying in awful ways because of their separate obsessions with the spiral, with some of the most chilling imagery I've seen in a piece of fiction. Then, Uzumaki just spirals out of control. Literally. Kirie herself being the prime target of the spiral many times throughout the story. As the town is destroyed more and more by this terrifying and unexplainable force, it all comes to the ultimate conclusion, where the town itself is rebuilt into a spiral, and its people are now tangled with one another in a nightmarish abomination. Okay, so fair warning, spoilers ahead for the ending of Uzumaki, you've been warned. When the main characters finally reach the center of town in search of Kirie's parents, they find a giant spiral staircase. Shuichi is knocked down into this giant hole by one of the spiral-fied people, and Kirie hurries on to make sure he's okay. After finally reaching the bottom, Junji Ito really shows off his knack of drawing absolutely horrifying and unexplainable scenes, where we see this ancient ruins made purely of spirals, with the ground being made of the people of the town who fell to this curse, which was basically everyone. As Kirie walks through this hellscape, she finds her parents, and they're seemingly frozen in time, having become part of the spiral in each other's arms. This moment really hit me, as I was really rooting for Kirie's parents to be okay. But that's something else Ito is really good at. Taking your hopes up, making you think things will be okay, and then crushing them. Kirie then finds Shuichi. He's alive, but his legs are broken. He can't go on, and he tells Kirie to go on without him. That if she lived on, maybe she could find a way to escape, maybe even find a way to end the curse of the spiral once and for all. But this is when probably the most controversial part of Uzumaki happens. She just can't do it. Him being her boyfriend, him being one of the only people who truly understands what she's been through. She loves him, and she can't stand to leave him. And she tells him that she gives up too. She has to give up, and lays with him. Their bodies tangle with one another, and in one of the saddest panels of the story, we see that our two main characters have finally become part of the spiral. And time is frozen for them, going seemingly infinitely slow, until the spiral circles around itself once more. So, why is this controversial? Well, many people are not satisfied with this ending, and I think that's for a good reason. It's just not a conventionally satisfying ending. The characters come so close to possibly finding out what the curse of the spiral really is and why it's happening, or even stopping the curse entirely. But out of nowhere, Kirie simply gives up. No explanation is given, no solution is granted to this grand mystery. Even though the characters understand the nature of the spiral, they still have no clue of its origins or even its true purpose. But I also think that this unsatisfying ending is kind of perfect. It's the point of this entire story that the spiral simply can't be explained. It's beyond the realm of human comprehension, and even though Kirie and Shuichi are the two people who avoided the spiral for the longest, even they couldn't avoid the absolute cosmic power of the spiral. That's what makes stories like these work. This Lovecraftian feel of there being nothing that can be done. That powers outside of any human control can destroy you at any moment for any reason. This is what makes Uzumaki terrifying. Combined with Junji Ito's amazingly terrifying art, along with the humanity of its main characters, the situation Kirie and Shuichi find themselves in really feels helpless. The ending only accentuates what I love about the cosmic horror of the story. Kirie just found out that she lost her parents, the Spiral, and if she left Shuichi, she would have been leaving the last person she loved. It makes sense that she gave up, almost as if the Spiral willed it to turn out that way. If we knew why the Spiral did what it did, some of that fear that we feel would go away, because part of what is so scary is the fact that we have no clue what the purpose of the Spiral is. To a lesser extent, that's why Heath Ledger's Joker is so scary. He just wants to watch the world burn. Same thing with the Spiral. It just wants a civilization to crumble to dust for its own demented and unexplainable purpose. And in a way, that's so much more satisfying to me than if the Spiral was explained or defeated. Because at the end of the day, a Spiral has no beginning. It has no end. Forever and ever, it will go on, with or without a purpose.